Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for joining with me to celebrate my 6th year of remission from cancer and my 27th birthday. I'm really thankful for you and for this beautiful day. And for my mom who's joining us, would you like to come on screen, Mom? Looks like she's accepting the invitation and we're connecting. I hope. We might be having some technical difficulties. Well, anyway, my healing wouldn't have been possible without my mom and my family and so many people in my community. We had a lot of people who helped me make my juice and my soup and my coffee for my coffee detoxes when I came home from Mexico and my mom had to go back to work. So I owe it all to those people and to God who provided everything that I needed for my healing. There was Gar Hildenbrand who took care of me when I was at Chipsa Hospital. There was the staff at my college once I went back to school. They made all my food and my juice for me, and so that I could go to school full time and continue diving as a member of the swim and dive team. And all my other family who was supportive every step of the way, and my friends who lifted me up when I was down and inspired me to keep going. And there were other patients who were positive when I was not. There was a woman, Claire, from Canada, who was constantly in pain. She lived next door to me at the hospital in Mexico. And you never would have known that she was in pain because she always had a smile. And so I just want to say it's by grace that I'm here in front of you today. And if I can make it, so can anyone else. God will provide all of your needs, just as he has for me. And so since I don't think we're going to be able to connect with my mom, I can try again, but we could do the Q&A. And so I have a question. Let's see, questions and answers from Melissa. In your opinion, what do you feel had the biggest impact with your healing as far as treatments you did in Mexico? My husband has metastatic melanoma. We are from Australia. It's tricky to say what I think had the biggest impact. There was, before I went to Mexico, the tumor that I had under my chin was visibly shrinking. And I had started drinking a redox supplement 4 times a day, 4 ounces. And I also did 1 round of Temodar before I went to Mexico. So once I was diagnosed, that day I started drinking this redox supplement that had redox signaling molecules which help in detoxification and cellular repair. And a couple weeks later, I started the 1 round of Temodar, which was 5 chemo pills once a day for 5 days. And then I think it was about a week after that or so that I got to Mexico. And then 3 weeks later, I left Mexico and the bump under my chin was gone. It started out as about 1 inch in diameter. And what I did in Mexico was Coley fluid treatments. I did an autologous vaccine, which was made using my own blood. And that stimulated my immune system. I did high-dose vitamin C. I did Laetrile, which is vitamin B17. I did tons of juices, 13 juices a day. and a modified Gerson diet, which included Hippocrates soup for lunch and dinner, and 3 coffee enemas per day, liver shots, multivitamin infusions, different supplements like pancreatic enzymes. I had potassium powder added to my juices and iodine drops added to some of my juices. Niacin, vitamin D, I think, Korean ginseng, CoQ10. There are a lot of things that I can't remember them all. But what I think, what I recommend for most people is starting with Coley fluid. So there's this model, this theory about the immune system on how the immune system works. And previously, there was this model of the self versus non-self, where your body attacks things that are foreign to it. But that doesn't work when you think about fetuses, when there's little humans growing inside a woman's belly, because that's not foreign, that wasn't there before. It doesn't explain breast milk, why the body doesn't reject that, because those are new proteins. And I think there are a couple other things that doesn't explain, but I can't think of it right now. But what the danger model does explain, and what the danger model is that your body, you don't have an immune response unless there is a signal of danger. And danger signals could be damage inside your tissues. It could be bacteria. It could be DNA that's floating around that should be contained within your cells. And I believe lipids. So what the Coley fluid does is it causes a danger signal. So you have dendritic cells, which are in your tissues, and they're mostly asleep most of the time. But then once there's a danger signal, they come out like a sheepdog, like Polly Matzinger tells us in her, when she explains it, because she's the scientist who came up with the danger model. And so the dendritic cells, they gobble up the danger signal or whatever's in the surrounding areas, and then they present the antigens on their surface, and then they bring it to the lymphatic system, where T cells recognize the antigens and stimulate further immune response. And so I don't know. I know that there are a lot of people who have healed naturally, and surgery could be part of an immune response. Surgery, you damage the tissues, and so the body responds to that damage. Chemotherapy can also cause damage, and radiation. And so I've been learning a lot as I do further research into the danger model and cancer and how people have healed. And a few months ago, I might have said, oh yeah, my surgeries, they just hurt my health rather than helped it. But now that I've been doing more research and reading more about the danger model, I think, and Gar Hildenbrand also thinks that surgery actually helped me stay healthy longer because it stimulated an immune response. So I think that surgery and chemotherapy and radiation, which all can cause damage to your tissues, those can all be part of a immune stimulating response in your body, which can help eliminate cancer cells. And also the diet, the Gerson therapy, you are what you eat, or you become what you digest. So building, having healthy cells and a healthy immune system will help strengthen your immune response when it does sense that danger. So I think eating healthy, organic, plant-based, but not necessarily vegetarian or vegan, as I had chicken or fish when I was in my healing process. Hippocrates soup could help. Coffee enemas to detoxify your body, as I think toxins contribute to the cause of cancer, and you want to get out all the toxins that are in your body. So I think if you can, my number one recommendation, if I were in someone else's position who has cancer right now, that would be my number one priority, is Coley fluid. And that's, unfortunately, as far as I know, only offered in Mexico. I wish it weren't so. And it used to be a mainstream treatment in the United States at Memorial Hospital, which is now called Sloan Kettering, because the head bone cancer surgeon there, he was friends with the Rockefellers, and one of the Rockefeller sons had a girlfriend who got cancer, and William Coley, the head bone cancer surgeon, he thought, okay, I'll just operate her, remove the cancer, and everything will be fine. But the cancer came back and she died. And so he started looking through the literature about how people had healed in the past, and he found that there were people who had healed after they got infections, and the cancer spontaneously went away. So he started injecting people with a couple different bacteria into their actual tumors, and it worked, and their cancer went away. And so he went on to heal many people. I think historically he had about a 30% success rate, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you compare it to standard treatments that are available now, it's pretty darn good. So so unfortunately, as Dr. Coley died and chemotherapy and radiation were becoming more popular, Coley fluid kind of fell out of the picture, and it became banned, and it's not legal to use it in the United States anymore. I know it's available in Mexico on a, I think it's called a compassionate basis. So if somebody, because options are limited when you have terminal cancer, Coley fluid can be used there. And I have a couple of recommendations for hospitals that use it. Gar Hildenbrand was in charge of my treatment when I was at CHIPSA Hospital, and when CHIPSA closed in, I think it was July 2013, Gar went and began working at St. Andrew's Clinic, where he continues to work now. And their website is standrewsclinic.com, or Gar's website is gerson-research.org. And I trust them, and I trust their Coley fluid. And then CHIPSA is also switching Coley fluid providers, as I'm not really sure. I've been looking into different hospitals' Coley fluid supplies, as some of them are a little bit different from what I believe to be the original, which contains all the cell contents of the bacteria, which are killed using heat and then used for their toxins. So some Coley fluid supplies might be filtered, where they remove the cell walls and they just have maybe the toxins left, which can still stimulate an immune response. But as far as I know, and I haven't looked into this fully, but Coley's original formula was not filtered. So I think it's important to make sure that you're getting the right supply of Coley fluid. And there are other hospitals that offer it, but I can't validate the quality of that. So if that's not possible to go to Mexico for Coley fluid treatments, I would consider an integrative approach, possibly using surgery, low dose chemo, or radiation. Polly Matzinger believes that proton therapy might cause more damage, that type of radiation in a good way. And she believes that radiation can cause a good response when you cause enough damage to overload these, I think she called it the scavenging capacity of, I think it's the immune cells, so that it stimulates a further immune response. I could be messing that up, but there's a lecture that she did that I could give you the link for. Or if you search on YouTube, go search danger model and tumors, and there's an 1.5-hour lecture that Polly gives that talks a lot about how the immune system can remove tumors, including using Coley fluid as a method. So there's also, it's very sciencey talk. She's talking to scientists. I don't, it might be at the National Institute of Health, but I could be wrong. But there's other lectures on there, shorter clips of her talking about the danger model and how it works, that you might find really helpful and interesting. I certainly love listening to it. And so, oh, there's Mom. She can't get the camera to work. Thanks, Mom. Love you. Yep, so there's Coley fluid and an integrative approach where you could use surgery, low-dose chemotherapy, or radiation combined with maximizing the strength of your immune system as much as possible by eating healthy and detoxifying your tissues and exercising, thinking positive thoughts. If you look into radical remission, it's a book by Dr. Kelly Turner, who interviewed over 1,000 people who experienced radical remission, and where conventional medicine can't explain how people healed from their cancer. And so she did her dissertation on this while she was at Harvard, and she found 9 key factors that were common among people who healed from cancer. And she talks about these in her book, and she explains very nicely how they impact your immune system using scientific research. So one is having strong reasons for living. One is increasing positive emotions. Another is releasing suppressed emotions. One is deepening your spirituality. Another is embracing social support. One is radically changing your diet, and another is taking herbs and supplements. That's 7. I'm missing a couple. But yeah, so, and then if you don't want to do, an integrative approach, I don't know. I'd like to talk to you about that and see what you're thinking and how I could help you. Hi, Christine. Thank you guys for commenting in the chat bar. I love to see your comments. All right. I'm going to go to another question from Gina. Hi, Bailey. My name is Gina. I'm still battling breast cancer that came back in my lungs. Can you tell me about how much it costs to go to one of the clinics that helped you? CHIPSO, where I went, they cost about $27,000 for 3 weeks, plus or minus $2,000. And St. Andrew's Clinic costs about $5,200 American dollars per week. And I think a common duration of time spent there is 3 weeks also. Some other clinics can be very, very expensive. But you could do fundraisers. There's, I think it's GoFundMe.com. There's caringbridge.com. Either you or a friend could create a page for yourself and share it on Facebook, share it on social media. You could do an email chain where you include people whose email addresses you have, friends, family, coworkers. And I think it's worth it to give it a shot. Okay, I would prefer it from Renos. I would prefer this webinar to hear about something very specific like eating or detoxing protocols, etc. Happy birthday and God bless you. Thank you, Renos. God bless you too. Okay, detoxing protocols. My detox protocol. Well, juicing in itself can be detoxifying, but if you're juicing a lot and you have a lot of toxins in your body, you could go into a healing crisis where you get headaches, you feel sick, you could maybe even throw up. But combining that with coffee enemas, another detoxing method, will help alleviate that. And coffee enemas, they're not commonplace in today's day and age, especially in the United States. But another benefit of coffee enemas is that they're very relaxing once you get the hang of them. It took me a few months to get the hang of mine after doing them 3 times a day. So I could identify with you if you struggle there or if you don't want to do it. I really didn't want to do it in the beginning, and they were very difficult. But they're very good at detoxifying your body. The point is to cleanse your liver and help it filter your blood. And so I use a special blend of coffee from S.A. Wilson's, which is very lightly roasted. And I believe it contains more caffeine and more of the active, the effective chemicals in the coffee bean that help to detoxify your body when it's taken as an enema. It's so it's a light roast, it's organic, and it here, I have this little handout from the Gerson Institute. I printed it up to remind me of how coffee enemas work. So it's the caffeine, and where is it else? The theobromine, theophylline, and the caffeine in coffee dilate blood vessels and bile ducts, relax smooth muscles, and increase the bile flow. And doctors at the University of Minnesota showed that coffee administered rectally also stimulates an enzyme system in the liver called glutathione S-transferase by 600 to 700% above normal activity levels. And so the enzyme reacts with free radicals, which can cause cancer, and they neutralize them. Then the neutralized molecules get dissolved in the bile, and then the bile is released when you go to the bathroom after holding your coffee. And you should hold the coffee from 12 to 15 minutes, which would allow the liver to filter your whole blood supply 4 to 5 times. You could also detox using sauna. I know there's other ways. I think zeolite is a way you could detox from heavy metals. And there's other techniques that are available at clinics, alternative and holistic clinics. So specific eating-wise, I followed a modified Gerson diet. The Gerson therapy is the diet and detox combined. So I did 13 juices a day, 1 freshly squeezed orange juice in the morning with breakfast. And then the Gerson way is to do 8 carrot apple juices and 4 green juices. But I didn't really like the carrot juices all that much, so I did 6 carrot juices and 6 green juices. The carrot juices just had carrots and apples in it. Until afterwards I decided to add things like ginger and beets to it to make the the color look nicer and the taste tastes better. Because sometimes you get a bag of bad carrots and it doesn't taste very good, but the ginger adds a nice kick to it. And then with the green juices, the Gerson recipe is watercress, beet tops, Swiss chard, romaine, escarole, green pepper, green bell pepper, red cabbage, and Granny Smith apples. And so that's the recipe that I used in the beginning. And then, let's see, I did add ginger to that one as well, or lemon. And now, since I only drink 2 juices a day, because I don't need to do the whole therapy anymore, I'm on a maintenance phase. And I don't know how everybody does their maintenance phase. Some people might not juice at all. Some people might juice more than me. I think it's up to you and what you feel comfortable doing. But I do 2 juices now, and I use a lot of different ingredients. And sometimes I change it up. But I use leafy greens like collard greens, romaine, Swiss chard. Once in a while I'll do watercress, but most of the time I don't because they're really little and fragile leaves, and I dry everything and after I rinse them before juicing them, and it's a little bit of a pain to dry them all. So those are the greens. I still do green pepper, red cabbage, ginger, beet, carrot, celery sometimes, and I think that's it. So it's a mixture. But when I was doing the Gerson therapy, I added iodine drops to my carrot apple juices, which you can't add to leafy green juices because it'll turn it brown and it probably makes some of the nutrients unavailable. I'm not, quite sure of the specifics, but I know that you're not supposed to add the iodine drops to the green juices. So I don't add iodine drops anymore. I don't add potassium powder anymore. Let's see. Okay, more about the diet. I did Hippocrates soup for lunch and dinner, and Hippocrates soup consists of leeks. That's probably the most important ingredient. Celery root, parsnips, and then I add onions, and I used to have a whole potato with each lunch and dinner. Now I don't do potatoes so much, but once in a while. And so I think it's a cup of leeks, a cup of celery root, cup of parsnips, 3 cups of onions, and then you could add whatever other vegetables and spices and herbs that you want to it. But you can either strain the vegetables out. So you cut them up, you cover them with water, you bring it to a boil, and then simmer for 2 to 3 hours. And so what I would do is strain out the fibrous, the vegetables, and just drink or save the clear broth, because there wasn't many nutrients left in the vegetables themselves because they were all in the liquid. Or you could run it through a food mill and make it into like a creamier or mushy soup. But what I did was keep the broth and then have a potato, and then I would add brewer's yeast, about 2 tablespoons of that, and a tablespoon or 2 of flax oil, and mix it up. And in Mexico, I would also have other cooked vegetables and a raw salad. But at home, when I was doing it on my own, it took a lot of effort, so I didn't have the salads and oftentimes the other vegetables that I could have had. Diet-wise, snacks, I snacked on fruit, any kind of fruit, nuts and seeds. Avocado was really good. Any kind of vegetable. And I didn't drink caffeinated beverages like coffee. I don't really drink coffee anymore. Once in a while, I'll have a sip. I've had like maybe 2 coffees or 3 since I came home since I started this whole alternative holistic healing journey. And I drink herbal teas. So that's pretty much it for the diet, I think. If you have other questions, you could let me know in the chat. I already answered, I think I answered this question from Chris. Since I'm unable to do the Coley fluid and autologous vaccine here at my home, how big of a role do they play in the healing process? I think those are very good healing methods. But if not, if you can't do it, God knows, and He'll provide a way that you can follow. And I don't think He gives anybody a special chance of healing. I think everybody has, with God, anything is possible. So it doesn't matter what your circumstance is. You could heal. Okay. Lulia asked, there's also a Gerson clinic in Hungary now, isn't there? I think it costs about 5,000 pounds for 2 weeks. There is a Gerson clinic in Hungary. There's also one in Mexico. And what they do there, they have, as far as I know, I don't know down to the very specifics, but they do the Gerson therapy with the diet and detoxing, and they might do, and probably supplements. Other than that, I'm not really sure about their methodology. They don't do Coley fluid and things like that. But if you can get, and they only accept certain cases. So if they don't think they can help you, they're not going to accept you as a patient. And I hope you don't take that the wrong way. I think, like, I was, my mom reached out to Dr. Gonzalez, the late doctor from New York, who used proteolytic enzymes and coffee enemas and healthy diet to help people heal from their cancer. And he wouldn't accept me as a patient. And I was a little bit put off by that when I was sick, but knowing now, I think it's probably just because he didn't think he could help me, and I'm okay with that because it led me to somewhere else where they were able to help me. So the goal with the Gerson therapy, and really any therapy, is to get an immune response. And so this is possible with the Gerson therapy on its own. And you know that you're getting an immune response if you end up with a fever or inflammation and or visible shrinkage of your tumors. So, okay, Dan asked, what kind of teas do you drink or recommend? Happy birthday, God bless. Thank you, Dan. I recommend herbal teas. Also green tea. I'm a little bit like not 100% certain on that one because of the caffeine. Like, I don't know, if it makes you feel a little shaky, then maybe don't do it, because sometimes I drink something that's caffeinated and I get the jitters, and I don't like feeling that way. But it has a lot of cancer fighting ability, especially in high doses. So you could take a green tea capsule if you'd like, or drink the tea yourself. Any kind of herbal tea. And I don't know, there's a lot of conflicting evidence out there to suggest that maybe, coffee could even be beneficial or not. So I have to do more research on that. Other beverages. Any other questions? All righty. Well, if there are no other questions, Top 7 questions. Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for being with me. I didn't used to love being around people so much. Before I was healed, I was, I would kind of go introverted, and when I graduated high school, I thought I'd get a job where it didn't involve interacting with people so much. But after my healing, and I started to seek my purpose in life, and I came to trusting God, and I came to see that being nice to people is rewarding, and loving other people feels good. I now love interacting with people like you, and I'm really thankful that you're here. And I hope I've given you some good information, some hope, and some good resources that you can take and share with others, or use it for yourself if you need it. And if you need anything else, you could reach out through my website, BaileyO'Brien.com, or send me an email at contact@BaileyO'Brien.com. And I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you so much. God bless you. Love, peace, and healing to you. Take care.